Money or
Okay.
character? Which one is more important to you?
Oh, okay. We're gonna start with you. So you tell us which one's more important to you.
uh, character is more important to me.
Okay, why?
Because it is like you can have all the money in the world and be a terrible person that
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to be with. You know. Now,
Right.
can you bribe people and can you soften people up by spending money on them and buying them things and all of that good stuff? Heck yeah. Can you make life uh, the load of life a little bit easier uh,
Mm-hmm.
with money? Heck yeah. But at the end of the day, you know, uh, mental it's way more important than anything physical,
Right.
and money has nothing to do with anything physically or emotionally. Can it affect us? Can it affect us physically with things that we do? Yes. Can it affect us emotionally based on how much you have or how much you don't have or how much somebody else has
Mm-hmm.
or somebody doesn't has? Yes. But at the end of the day, it's a physical thing. And mental, when it comes to character, that's more so mental and emotional, and that weight is going to mean something and hold a whole lot of more weight than money any day, anytime. So
Right. So I think that no one should have to choose. I think that character definitely is number one, right?
yeah,
But I don't think that you can just have the best character in the world and not have the money aspect also. So while I think character is number one, right? Because I would never date somebody who has money but poor character, but at the same time, I wouldn't date somebody who has like excellent character. I would be friends with this person, right? I couldn't date
yeah,
somebody who has like, great character, but they don't have the money. And when I say money, you don't have to be rich, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't
yeah,
date what we call broke or not financially stable. Not at my age, Maybe if I was in
yeah,
my early 20s in the building years, that's
yeah,
different. I definitely went 100%. I'll say like 26 and under. I definitely went straight character. I didn't think about naively, I didn't think about finances and things like that because in my mind, I thought, oh, we can just build together, like cool.
yeah,
Um, but like as a 38-year-old, while character is definitely the most, more important than money, I wouldn't say that I would take one without the other.
yeah. And I understand that aspect of it because like it's the money is still important. Like it ain't like
Right.
it ain't. We can't just act like you know love is go pay these bills because it ain't.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, I definitely like agree with. I think what I agree with the most is the first thing you said when you said you feel like nobody should have to choose. Man,
Right.
if it was like that, I think it would be a whole lot better if it was like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I feel like I know that uh, we got to have self accountability here. So we can't go and say, well, this person don't have this amount of money because of such and such. Because at the end of the day, it depends on what you're doing, what you've done, the decisions you made and are making now. That can all play a part on how much money that you have now or will have in the future. But at the same time, I feel like that there are more things that could be done for, and I'm just going to talk about America here. I can't talk about the whole world, but for the people in America, to where that wouldn't really be a choice of where everybody could live. I ain't gonna say financially free, but it wouldn't be as difficult as it is for people sometimes. You know, because I know people, and I'm not making an excuse for anybody. I'm just saying I know people who they really try, man, really try, and it's like it's one thing after the next. You know, oh, they go to this job, get laid off, but it ain't because they did a bad job. It's just because they didn't need that position or whatever. Or and then you think about the pandemic that happened. Oh, they had this job, bam, like that affected so many people. And I ain't saying that people can't shake back or that that is an excuse, but it's real. The stuff like that that
Mm-hmm.
happens. And I remember I was watching this one guy. I can't think of his name right now, but I was watching this one guy, and it was a real quick short video, and he was talking about how there's this one billionaire in America. He could give everybody, every single human being in America, $1 million and still will be a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sitting here saying that somebody should go and do that, but that just lets you know if one person has the ability to change everybody's life in America right now,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't understand how this country operates to where minimum wage is still 7.25. That makes absolutely no sense. Federally, minimum wage is still 7.25. You know, so uh, but that's a whole nother story right there.
All right. Well, I have no problem with minimum wage. This is my issue with raising minimum wage. I feel like that doesn't work. You know, I feel like raising minimum wage, all it's gonna do is bring up the price of a whole bunch of stuff, and because raising the minimum wage does not raise the middle class, and the middle class is always the people that get shut out, right? Like realistically,
Yeah,
nobody still pays minimum wage, and if they do pay minimum wage, it's like a job that you shouldn't have as a career. It's like you know, your high school kids should have that job, or you know,
yeah,
younger folks. And
yeah,
so my problem, I think, instead of doing a minimum wage increase, because that doesn't really help. I think instead of doing a minimum wage, it should be based by each state, and they should have to do a cost of living increase, and everybody receives it. Because if you raise the minimum wage, but hey, I'm already making over the minimum wage, so I don't get a raise. But now the prices of everything are about to go up, but I don't see the benefit of that raise of the minimum wage. So now I got more expenses, and and I don't have more money. So I mean,
yeah.
I don't feel like raising the minimum wage is the answer.
No, no, no. I agree with that because that's part of
But
a universal
back on the
payment thing they was talking about. So yeah. Now go ahead. Go ahead.
back on the topic of here, back on the topic of you know, money over which one would you choose, money or character or whatever. I feel like, so are you on TikTok?
Yeah, I am.
So on TikTok, I don't know, because you know you can be on different sides of TikTok, so you might not even see this. I must have watched the wrong video or something, because I think I'm on the negative side of TikTok right now. But you know, there's like a gender war going on, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
hold on, this little girl is talking.
No, you're fine.
Here you go. But yeah, so there's a gender war going on. And what I hear people always saying is, you know, black women have a low marriage rate, right? And they
Yeah.
say that as a way of saying like there's something wrong with us because we have a low marriage rate, right? But they don't take into
Uh-huh.
consideration that black women, majority of black women prefer dating black men, right? So, and but we outnumber black men 3-1, because 1 in 3 black men are incarcerated, and y'all, a lot of black men are unemployed, so we don't have a great dating pool because we're more likely not to date out, and they take us not dating out as, you know, we don't have other options. But that's not true either, because I mean, other races really do love, you know, love black women, right? But I bring this up because I feel like that's the dilemma we have in our community, right? It's like black women
Hmm.
are faced with, do I date character or do I date money? And many of us choose to just be single because we don't choose to settle. He's like, I'm not going to pick either or. I expect you to have great care. I'm not going to date a guy. See, what happens is you can meet, you meet guys that maybe not even like a whole bunch of money, just maybe doing okay, 60, 65, 70, right? But because they
Mm-hmm.
make that in their mind, they're above other people. So they might have like an arrogance, not everybody, but some of them, they have like an arrogance about it. So they have poor character because they think very, very highly of themselves. So then you have to mark those people off. And then you meet the guy that's really, really nice, but he doesn't have money. And you're not willing to like, support a man. Like that's not on the table. So then you can't date that guy. And so a
Yeah.
lot of women choose to be single because they're not willing. Well, I should say black women choose to be single because they're not willing to say, "Hey, I'll take character over money, or I'll take money over character." It's like it's gonna have to be both. And if you can't provide both, like you throwing these numbers at me of how many black women get married means nothing to me because you have to ask the question of, how many are choosing to be single? Because I know you're a man, so I know if you wanted to get married today, not necessarily today, but if you wanted to be married, you could just go pick somebody, right? Everybody could just go find somebody. Like everybody is approached, everybody got people in their inbox, everybody meets people when they go out. So it's not like there's like you on this island that nobody wants to talk to you. Is you chose that I'm not sacrificing one side or the other. Either you're gonna have to have a mixture or it's nothing. But it's talked as is, that I feel like the narrative is pushed as if, you know, we're not getting married because something is wrong with us. When truly the narrative should be is that we're put in a position where we're asked to either pick character or money.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. Uh, that right there. That's. Oh man, that's. I just gotta come straight forward with this, but I don't know one person. I hear what you're saying about
Mm-hmm.
choosing to be single. I do, because
Mm-hmm.
especially when you lay it down to the point to where you was like, I'm sure if you wanted to go get somebody like to marry,
You
you could,
could.
you know,
Right.
and I'm sure you if you wanted to go find somebody to be with, you could, but you choose
Right.
not to. So I
Right.
understand that aspect as far as staying single, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody truly chooses to stay single. Like for real, for real. Because if that was the case, then you wouldn't be meeting these new people. You wouldn't have these other options.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you choose not to be with this person, that
So you're
means
choosing to be
that
single when you
you
choose not to be with the people, right?
at that point in time, yes, but how long is that gonna last? I mean, how
What?
many you
Mm-hmm.
can't tell me that out of
Mm-hmm.
all of these
Mm-hmm.
people and all of these places and
Right.
the way the world is to where you really can reach out to anybody at any time, no
Mm-hmm.
matter where you're at, that you can find somebody, even if it's of the same race, that meets that standard.
Right.
Because
See, that's the
then it's
thing.
like,
You just said the key thing. So when I started that conversation, right, I said,
mm-hmm,
just to be honest, I looked it up. One out of three black men are incarcerated or have been incarcerated. So if you
yeah,
have a record, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen
but
if
to
you have a
me,
record? Let me finish. If you have a record, then
oh,
you're less likely
go
to
ahead,
get
go ahead,
employment, right? Right. So if
yeah,
you have a record, you're less like, or and if you get employment, it's probably gonna be a job that's not paying, like you said, the minimum wage type job, right? So okay, that's
okay,
one out of three. We already outnumber black men 3-1. So let's go
okay,
there. Then we have gay men,
okay,
and then on top of
okay,
that, black men are underemployed. The average black man in the United States makes 38,000 a year. Of course, there's people that's over that. Of course, there's people that's under that, but that's
yeah.
right in the middle.
No,
38,000 a
you're
year.
right. Yeah, you're right.
Uh, so what I'm saying is, if I don't if I don't make 38,000 a year, okay, um, if you have had, I've met people, okay, and then once you talk to them for a while, you know what you find out? Oh, why did you go to school? And I'm not judging, right? But you know who you want, right? Oh, why did you go to
Mm-hmm.
school late? Oh, it's a true story. A guy was like, because I just assumed he graduated from college late. Quiet for me, please. I just assumed he graduated from college like because he went to the military. Because that's usually what happened, right? People go to the military young, and then they go to
Mm-hmm.
school. And I was like, why
Mm-hmm.
did you, I said, what made you start school so late? And he was like, well, I I got arrested at 17, and I can't remember how many years, like 20 years in jail or something. I'm like, people,
Mm-hmm.
not dating nobody that's been in jail that long. I ain't saying you're a bad person. I ain't saying none of that, but that ain't what I got for me in my mind. That ain't what I want, you know. Or if
Mm-hmm.
you meet people that is nothing wrong. I'm throwing this out there. I'm not shaming anybody. I'm just telling you what I want and what I meet. Or you meet somebody that's real nice, and they work at a company, and they making $12 an hour. I mean, maybe in Monroe that could work, but in Texas that ain't gonna work. And so it's
Yeah.
like, why would I date somebody um that wouldn't be able to survive off of that type of income?
Yeah,
And
but
so
here. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
last thing I'm gonna say is, so after the okay, so I've always been like pro black or whatever, and I really wanted this whole idea of black love, right? And after
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic or whatever, and I found out, like, really after I started my YouTube channel, and I found out how negative some black men, I ain't gonna say all, but a lot, negative black men are. For the first time in my life, I actually thought about the idea of not dating black, not necessarily just not dating black men, but not just solely dating black men. Maybe I should open up my options and date non-black men or non-American black men.
Mm-hmm.
And what I will say is the dating pool is totally, I feel like, is totally different. I feel like as far as career wise, and even like as far as somebody that's traveled and seen the world, I feel like you have, like, the conversations are different. I'm not married yet because I just started dating now. I feel like, sex doesn't my child in here, but sex doesn't come up like within the
Yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
couple conversations. I'm not having somebody talking about, coming over their house and kicking. They actually saying, let's go to date. Let's do this. What do you like to do? Is there anything I can do for you? Da da da. It's like a whole different vibe, and like, especially when you date even non-American black men, like the ones that are like the East Africans and stuff like that. Like, they date with a purpose. So like, they're not just dating you just so they can be kicking it. Like, they're trying to see if you could be a good fit. And so that doesn't mean that every guy that's a non-American black guy is gonna be a great person, right? They got trash people in every race. But I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, as I've opened up my options, what I've noticed is they even date differently than when I was dating black men, American black men.
Yeah. Yep. Ooh, that's a lot to say to that. I guess I don't know where I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with this. Oh,
Mhm.
the what the average black man makes and all of that stuff. That's true.
Mhm.
That statistic is real. And then you was talking about, how every 1 out of 3 or whatever has been incarcerated or been in jail or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, but even with that, even with that number, like if you know that,
Mhm.
that's still 2/3 of the men that's not in that equation, which is still plenty of people that's everywhere across America that hasn't dealt with that. So I still don't think that's an excuse. I understand that it makes the number go down,
Right, and we
but
already outnumber y'all 3-1. So I mean, you taking out 2/3 of the people, so you got one
yeah,
third
but
left.
if y'all outnumber us, then you can take those same stats and revert it over to women. There's gay women. There's plenty of black women who will never date a black man. Plenty, because I run across those all the time. Know those that never will, and there's plenty of those everywhere.
It's
So
a reason for that.
take those women into account. Yeah,
Hmm.
I
And
mean,
there's plenty of
I,
black men that
all
don't date black women though, and there's
Eh,
gay
but
black men.
that's a number. But those people in those numbers, like that's something that we don't have any control over. None,
Right.
zero,
Mhm.
zero.
Yeah.
So, as far as the other thing is, I want to go back to the average of what black men make. If
Mhm.
that's the average, like you say, of course, some is higher, some is lower. But if that's like the average,
Mhm.
then then you got to think about where you living at. Just like you said, maybe it'll
Mhm.
work this place, but it don't work there. So, and I
Mhm.
feel like all of those factors come into play, and it ain't the same for everybody.
Right.
You
Of
know,
course.
so like for you, and it ain't just the money thing and the character thing, but you brought it up earlier. It's where you're at in life and the age that you're at in life. Like
Of
you're at a
course.
point to where you're just not gonna deal with certain things, and that plays
Mhm.
a factor. So uh, I think what happens a lot is people listen to certain people about certain things, and then they try to take those same. And I'm not saying this about you because clearly you already know where you at and you know what you want, which is a great thing. But that's what I'm getting at. Like I feel like a lot of people, men and women, black men and black women, don't know exactly what they want because they just so focused on, well, I see this person doing what I think I want, and then they try to take the same thing that person is doing and apply it to themselves, even though they're on a whole nother level.
Mhm.
If that person is more mature than you, you're not them. You're not on that level. If that person has more money than you, you're not on that level. If that person is in a different age bracket than you, you're not on that level. And I think part of the problem when it comes to that, the money over character thing is not just what we want or what we think we want. It's what we're listening and feeding into from other people that surrounds us, whether it be our friends, our families, people we listen to on the internet. All that affects everything, and
Mhm.
then it affects the way we look at black men and black women. Because me personally, I know when I was younger, I had some of the most stupidest things that I thought I wanted from a woman. And then I was to the point to where I was like, man, I ain't really with black women trying to give with black women because it just seemed like I see a bunch of stuff that I don't like.
Mhm.
But then as I got older, like I gained more respect for myself. I gained more respect for my people, black people, and black women. So then that narrative completely changed. But
Mhm.
if I didn't come up with those things on my own, if I didn't create that love and that passion on my own, and I got it from somebody else, that means that whatever, if I got it from somebody else, I could
Mhm.
easily be persuaded by somebody else's ideal, and then next thing you know, I was looking at black women at this good light at one point in time, but I listened to whoever, and now I look at black women as this. I used to
Mhm.
see all black women as queens, but now because I listen to this person, I see that all black women, they really out here. And like you were saying with the gender thing, the gender war thing, talking about, oh well, it's something wrong with the black women. No, you gotta look at both sides, man. I'm a firm believer on that. You gotta look at both sides. What are you doing? And what are you doing now? Where you at now? What can you give? Because it's a give thing, man. It's a give thing on both sides. So the other thing I was gonna say is you was talking about dating, from uh non-American black men.
Mhm.
I've heard people talk about that too. And I think the biggest thing, and I'm not talking about you when I say this, I'm just saying in general,
Mhm.
I think the biggest thing that we in America don't realize is I know we know it, but we really don't realize it because we haven't been in those areas or been around people that's not from America long enough and really built a relationship and learn about their culture. And what I'm getting at is I've seen some women that go for non American black men, and then they get disappointed because those men don't want them. Well, you can look good and you can be good over in America's eyes, but when you go, when you get to where they're looking for and where they're coming from, the women over there are completely different because a lot of the women over there are raised from a child to be a wife. Simple as that. They're raised to do wifely duties. And I know that if you start talking about certain things like that over here in America, then it'll be like, oh, well, we don't got to do all that. Well, okay, you may be right. In America, that's right. But in other countries, that ain't how it works. You go over there and you start popping off at the mouth, you gonna get your teeth knocked out for real. You can't do certain things, you know. So even when dating non-black American guys, you still got to be careful because you got to remember, like they don't operate like we do. They don't
So
believe in things we believe in. They don't do the things that we do, and they may expect more than what you're willing to give um, when it comes to that. So
definitely each culture is different. Um, Also, they're you know if you're talking about African men, I feel like it depends on what part of Africa they're from, and
yeah, 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 yeah,
a lot of their views have changed over the years too, because their generations have evolved. And I think one of the biggest, I think definitely there's some truth to some women don't want to do, like, what you would consider a housewife type job, right? But I think
yeah,
there's a misconception that that women don't want that role. It's just that I'm not doing it if you expect me to pay 50-50 and then come home and still be 100%, you know. And see, they believe, well, as far as my experiences so far, the people I've talked to, they truly believe in being the provider and leader of the home. And like, even when you're dating, you know, it's like, it's not like dating just like, oh, hey, what's your name? What's your favorite color? It's like, okay, like, how, what do you really want? And, how can we get to know each other better? Da, da, da. What do you expect? What I expect, like communication, I feel like, is more so like, it's just, I feel personally, it's just been so different. Like I say, it doesn't mean that one is better than another. It's just like, what do you prefer? So some people might not prefer that. Like you said, some women really into their careers. uh some people aren't. So, you
yeah,
know and if you can find somebody that meets your need, that doesn't mean that every guy you meet is going to be the perfect one. But at least if so that's my biggest thing. I just don't like, with the dating, and I'm gonna overgeneralize here because that's all I can do right now. The dating of American black men right now, I just feel like I don't know your intentions, because men, in my opinion, they will just fake it just to pretend like they really, really trying to get to know you, and they really don't even have those intentions. I feel like when you're dating someone from some, not all, a lot of guys from other cultures, like, they're really legitimately looking for a wife. Now that doesn't mean we're gonna work out and we're gonna agree with a lot of things but at least I know going into it, we're both genuinely trying to get to know each other for a common purpose. That doesn't mean that we're gonna end up being the people for each other, but we're
yeah,
genuinely dating to see if we could be the right people for each other. And I just
yeah,
appreciate that, even if it doesn't work out, because I know we both went into it genuinely looking for the same thing. Whereas I feel like when I'm dating with American man, it's not always, it's not always genuine. And I don't even know why it's not genuine, because I mean, I feel like at this age you could just tell the truth and be upfront about, what your intentions are. But that's just how I feel.
yeah. And I got you. Communication is definitely super important. And then not only the communication aspect of it, but I think I said this a while back on another live I was with you on, but the comprehension part, you
Yeah.
know, because that's super important, that because then it turns into miscommunication, which is the worst thing ever because you got one person thinking you understanding, and then you got one person that think they understand, but both people completely missed the mark here. Whether it was with comprehending or saying it to a way that person completely, without a shadow of a doubt, understands and knows where you're coming from and what you're talking about. And yeah, like with any relationship, no matter what it is, whether it's you're aiming to be married, friends, whatever, like you gotta set that. You have to set that tone and in the beginning, in the early stages. And if you haven't set them in the early stages, as soon as you realize, you know what, like I need to really figure out what's going on, you need to do it right then and there. You know, of
Right.
course, do it the right way. Don't come at that person aggressively. You know,
Right.
because you feel like because I think something that happens too is sometimes people feel like that they've been played, but
Mhm.
I don't think that a person can play you if you have the opportunity to ask them questions that you want to know or feel like you need to know
Right.
and you never ask.
Mhm.
Because I've met too many people to where like they feel like somebody played them or they feel like they got played because such. And then I ask them, did you ever really ask the person? Not hint at it, not try to see what they was talking about or see if they was going to get around to saying it in another conversation. I'm talking about straightforward. Hey, this is what I want. Did you ask that question? Straightforward.
Mhm.
And the answer is no. And it's like that's a problem too. You know,
Uh-huh.
yes, this person should tell you, you know, what they want, but at the same time, you have the opportunity to ask. So ask. That way you leave no room for error because then you can say, well, I did ask, you
Mhm.
know. And if that person isn't straightforward with you and honest with you, you know, then you got a legit argument to where you can say, well, you lied. I thought this. I asked, and you gave me this answer, but your actions say otherwise.
Mhm.
And, you know, now you got a legit thing, but just, you know, oh, you know, playing that woe is me card because you realize that it ain't what you thought it was, but you never asked. Mm, I think it's too much of that going on too, and
See, also,
that's
I
part
just
of
want to
not
say,
communicating right.
I want to
Go
say
ahead.
we got a messed up culture, right? So it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
why are people dating not to see if they met for each other? I don't understand the idea of all these casual relationships people have, and like I said, I'm on TikTok and I see people talking about sneaky leaks and all this stuff. It's like, what's the point of all that? It's like everybody trying to do everything but be in relationships and get married. And it's like I want to remove myself from that movement because it's stupid. And I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It's like if you don't want to be with people, you need to be single. And like I've been talking with my friends, and we've all have just like really come to the conclusion that there definitely needs to be a mass, like women need to just remove themselves from the sexual market because I feel like people are underappreciated, and
well,
you
that.
know
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and you know at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense to me, in my opinion. Um, that people just deal with people that they're not even interested in. It doesn't make sense to me. Like that's weird. And what kind of culture are we having where everybody wants to be in a relationship but nobody wants to be in a relationship? It's like
Yeah,
men say they don't want to
yeah,
be in a relationship, but those be the same men that can't be by themselves. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like they gotta
yeah,
have
yeah,
somebody with them at all
yeah,
times. And that's why they do all this, messing around with all these different people because they need to feel needed. And it's like just
yeah,
find you somebody then. You ain't gotta be messing with everybody under the sun. Find you somebody that you genuinely like and you enjoy their company. And that doesn't mean that everybody you date will be that person, but at least go into it with genuine intentions. And if y'all don't work out, y'all don't work out. But at least
yeah.
try. And then if that person don't work, don't waste their time. Just go to the next.
Well, it's it's so many factors that play in the reason why the culture is the way it is right now. So many factors. You know, a big factor that I always go speak on because no matter how people try to act like it doesn't affect them, it does. What you watch
Absolutely.
and what you see, what you watch and what you see affects you tremendously.
I
I
agree.
believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. And that all that rhyme on purpose. But nah, for real, what you watching, what you listening to? These dramatic TV shows that you all up into, with these grown people acting like they in high school, that messes with your mind. And subconsciously, without you thinking about it, you do these things that they do. You do these messy things, you do these dramatic things, you know, you have this uh really, because that's what it is. You have this messy, dramatic spirit like just hovering over you when you watch that type of stuff. Not only that, the music, like the music, it's all about hot girl summer and get who you could get with. And yeah, the music been like that for a while, but it's more explicit than it's ever been, and it's like, don't care about nobody. Just get what you can, and when you're done with them, find you another man. Or don't care about her. Just get what you want out of her, and then move on around, and it's gonna be another one right there waiting for you. You know, and that's just how it is, because these same people that you're talking about that's in a relationship but don't be in a relationship, they talking to two or three people at a time, if not more than that. They talking to two or three people at a time, and that's an issue. You can't be talking to one person and then be talking to two and three other people. You can't. Uh,
If you're in the
when
dating
if you
stage, you don't think you could date multiple people if y'all not serious yet? You just meeting
No,
friends?
no, no,
No.
no, no, no. The reason why is because appreciation is so important, and you can't appreciate the relationship that you're trying to build and the person that you're trying to talk to if you're talking to two or three other people. The reason why is because you start to compare, and nobody likes to be compared. Nobody. I don't know one human being who likes to be compared to another human being, especially in the dating scene, because that's what started happening. Because what you need to do is focus on that one person. If you see the red flags with that one person, say, okay, well, I appreciate your time. I don't want to waste any more of your time. It was a good while lasting, but you ain't for me. Then you move on to the next person. I mean, there's no, what's the rush? What's the rush? If you want something that's gonna last you for life, if you want something that's gonna lead to marriage, then you need to take your time and do it. There's no rush. There's no need to be talking to two and three, dating two or three different persons just to see, well, just in case this person don't work out, then I got somebody else who I think, no, you don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be doing that, because that's what creates the thing that we in now, to where people feel like, oh, I could be dating with this person, and even if this person feel like they're in a relationship with me and I don't, I'm still gonna have two or three other people that I'm gonna be talking to, even though I'm with this person and I'm staying with this person almost because I'm with them every day. I'm still gonna talk to these two and three other chicks or
Well,
these
I'm
two
not
and three
talking
other
about like
guys,
when you dating like
just so I
that.
can have something to fall back on.
I'm talking about when you
You
first
know
meeting people and y'all getting to know each other. You know.
that I still stand by my word. I don't care if you first getting to know each other. What's the rush? What are you moving so fast for? Why are you being so fast to where you need to talk to two or three other people? Oh, I need to meet two or three other people, get to know all of them at the same time, and then whichever one I like out of the three, that's I'm gonna leave the other two alone. And then no, just go to one person that you think you really like, and then bam, leave it at that. It
Okay.
shouldn't be no,
Y'all know
it
who you
shouldn't be
really like.
no, it shouldn't be no dating thing, because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you go come out. I feel like you go come out with a better outcome for both sides, because we get selfish when it comes to dating people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very selfish to date somebody, to be dating multiple people, even if it's just the very beginning stages. I think that's selfish, because you're not thinking about how that other person feels. Okay, maybe you got two or three people to talk to, but what if you're the only person that person is talking to? You
Mm-hmm.
know, if they don't have any other. They don't have any other distractions. They don't have anybody else to give their time to. So you may wonder, man, why is this person, texting me this much, and why is this person doing this and doing that? Well, it's because they really want to focus on you. And even
Mhm.
and you could, some people make the argument, well, no, they just ain't found nobody else yet.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I say.
still, even if that's the case, you don't know. You don't know. So like I said, I think it's better that way because when you don't have those other distractions, you can really hone in and pay attention to the things that you need to pay attention to and ask the things you need to ask. You got it's like dating three people is like trying to keep up with a lie. I ain't saying that you lying, but it is. It's like trying to keep up with a lie, and it's just too much work for no reason when you can just take one person at a time. If this person works out, move on. If this person works out, move on. You shouldn't have two and three different options like that, you know?
Hmm.
I don't think, like I said, I just don't think that's fair when it comes to, I don't think that's good character if I would say that. Now,
Hmm.
have I done that before? Heck yes. But would I ever do that in the future? No, because like I said, I just think it's selfish to the other person. So
I mean, I get your point. Like give your full
yeah.
attention and give it. Oh,
I
that's
mean, you really can pay attention to the things you need to pay attention to too
I
when
think
when
that
you have your
in
focus on
my,
one person.
I agree. But see, I think that that dating one person at a time, that I could totally be behind that if I knew that the people I was dealing with were genuine.
See, but that's the thing though. You'll never know that. Yeah, you can't. That it's impossible to know that. The only thing you can go off of is a person's word. Even when you marry somebody, you got vials, and those vials are verbally said because the only thing you're going by, you can sign their marriage license, signing their marriage license don't mean nothing. The only thing that means something is the vows that you said and that you agreed to, that you said I do to. And if you think about it in that aspect, the only thing that is words, and that's the only thing that you can hold true to even if you marry somebody, you're holding to an agreement, a verbal agreement between two people. That's a verbal agreement. So you should treat dating the same way because at the end of the day, if you marry that person, you're doing the same thing. Just because, oh, I got to know this person, that mean and now I know I can spend the rest of my life with them. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you do not. The only thing you have is that person saying that I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with you. So when it comes to dating somebody, it should be the same. It should be the same because that's what you go end up with anyway. Is the word of somebody saying, "Oh no, I'm not talking to nobody. I'm just talking to you." That's if you don't have any evidence that proves them wrong, that's the only thing you can go by is their word, and you got to rely and trust in that. And that's what we don't have in our culture is no first of all self awareness and self accountability,
Hmm.
and then we just been growing up in this don't trust nobody aspect. And when you do that, when you do that to where you don't trust nobody, I agree with having that boundary of trust because you got to earn trust. So I do agree with
Right.
that. I ain't saying just be dumb and just trust anybody. But what I'm saying is, if you got two people with this mutual agreement saying that I'm just talking to you, you just talking to me, I'm just that you just like, then that's what it is. Simple as that. Simple as that. Because like I said, at the end of the day, even when you marry that person, just because you marry them, don't mean you gonna be with them forever. Because you married that person because you got to know them. You felt like you spent enough of time around them. You feel like you seen all the right things you wanted to see. They got it. They got whatever on your checklist down. They meet your standards. So you like, okay, you meet all that. You seem like you're gonna be faithful and trustworthy and all of this stuff. So let's get married and let's say that I'm gonna be faithful to death do us part, through sickness and through health, and all of this stuff, because that's all it is verbal agreement. And I feel like we forget that all the relationship is a verbal agreement. Rings don't matter, signing a marriage license don't matter. That's all legal stuff. But none of that matters. It's all a verbal agreement at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's why I say that. So.
I mean, I see your side of it. I see, you saying, give that person your full attention. See if you like this person, and then when you start seeing the red flags, go ahead and get rid of them and go to the
Yeah.
next. But you just don't want to miss up on your husband because you're trying to
You
get
ain't gonna
the
miss you ain't gonna miss out. How are you gonna miss out if you paying attention to one person at a time? I feel, to be honest, I feel like you'll miss out messing around with multiple people than
Mm-hmm.
just focusing on one person. Because if you got a man that you say you want with good standards and stuff like that, and he
Mm-hmm.
see that you still messing around with multiple people, especially a mature minded man, most likely he gonna keep it moving because he see, okay, well, you can't even be faithful now. So what make you think I think you gonna be faithful later? You know,
When I
what
say
make you
dating,
think
I
what
just mean
what
somebody that you just met and that y'all just going on dates to get to know each other.
Nah, I got you, but still, like I said, I still stand by what I said. Even if it's just met and we going out dates and stuff, it should be one person at a time. You ain't gonna miss out on you ain't missed out on your husband yet.
I
And
don't know.
and that's what I'm saying. And if you did, guess what? You don't know if you did. So what what's what's wrong with saying, okay, I'm just gonna focus on one person at a time? I feel like the odds will greatly increase if our culture went that direction,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I ain't saying everybody is, of course everybody ain't, but if a couple of people at a time just start going the direction of I'm just gonna focus on one person at a time, I ain't gonna talk to nobody else. I'm dating this person, even if, like I said, even if you just met them, okay, well that's one person. That's a mess with them, see what they about, and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
We too. I think we got too much of this pick me thing going on, you know. And it's both sides. Women is pick me, men is pick me, and so that leads to that, man. And it's just it's. I really think it's destroying the dating scene doing that because that's not a healthy way to do it. It's really not. It's unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got, like I said, it's like trying to keep up with a lie. And it's too much work. You
Yeah.
can't focus on one person.
I've had to drop people off because I called them other names because I don't like saving people numbers.
Yeah.
If I don't, you know, if I don't feel like if I'm just getting to know you, I don't like to save people numbers into my phone.
Yeah.
And so if I called you somebody else's name, I just go ahead and delete you.
Wow. Wow.
Like I've already messed up, so like gotta let you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that'll never happen if you were just focusing on that one person. That would never happen.
Yeah,
So,
arguments. Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah. All right, so I want to
yeah.
switch the subject a little bit.
Go ahead.
So I was on TikTok and I saw this video, and it said that what's one way that a child has almost a 50% higher chance of being abused. Like what's one way they almost guarantees a 50% higher chance of being abused, right? And so the guy,
Uh-huh.
what do you think it would be? What do you think it would be?
I don't even know, honestly. I was sitting here thinking, I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay. So the guy answered. He said, "What if the parent, if the parent was abused, if the parent is more likely to abuse the child or whatever?" And I was like, "No. The when the child has a living step parent, there's a 50% higher chance that child be abused." Isn't
Oh,
that crazy?
wow.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
it
that
made
is
me
crazy.
think, you know, I didn't have a step parent because my mom and dad were together until my dad died. And I don't really even have. But you know what? I do. My sister, she has a daughter. She divorced her first husband. Now she's married again. So I guess that's the only step. And they're not really that close either. They just kept their distance. But I was just thinking about that, right? 'Cause, I have a small child or whatever, and I was thinking of,
Mm-hmm.
about the idea of bringing somebody. Because for a moment there, because I started looking it up, and it's actually called. It has a whole name. It's called the Cinderella effect, and it just says that step parents are twice as likely to abuse a kid than the biological
Oh, I've
parent.
heard of that before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, dang. For a second there, I was like, maybe I should just stay single, until she's like 18 and then start dating. But I was like, well, I'm already 38. I guess.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
you,
it
you
was just a brief thought,
you
okay? It
might
was
as
just a brief
well go
thought.
ahead and get you a good dog if you go do that. No.
Yeah, yeah, it was a brief thought. I just thought about it because I was like, I don't want to bring anybody into my house that would harm my child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on the bright side, I have a half brother, and his stepdad, he feels like, was like a dad to him. And I know some people that like really, really have high regards. And like he's a stepdad now. My half brother, he has a stepdaughter that he said he's
Yeah.
been in her life since she was 3. And so I was like,
Yeah.
well, all people aren't bad. You just gotta vet them well. But
And
I just thought
yeah,
that
yeah.
was, something I had never thought about before. Because I always think about the good side of a step parent. Stepping in the role. You know, helping out or whatever. I didn't think
Yeah.
about, the negative sides that, your child is twice as likely to be abused if there's a step parent in the home. And, that's why I said I like the idea of dating people with kids, because one of my biggest fear would be if I dated somebody that if I had a kid with them, then, they might be really into my child, and then I have a kid with them, then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, that's your kid. This is my child over here. I don't ever want my daughter to feel like she's an outsider in her own home, So those are things I think about, It just came to mind.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
But I mean, so with the Cinderella effect thing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person like my stepdad was in my life since I was a baby,
Uh-huh.
and uh, and I don't even call him a stepdad. Like most people, you wouldn't even know he was my stepdad. So, but I mean, he's been in my life since I was a baby, and great man to me. Taught me plenty of things that most guys my age and at that age when I was younger was never taught. You
Mm-hmm.
know, even with them having a dad at the house. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of respect and love and appreciation for my stepdad. Um, and I think that stepdads is going to be really the new normal, sadly, because there's so many people having kids,
Mm-hmm.
at a younger age with somebody that ain't gonna be there,
Right.
which is going to lead them having most likely a stepdad, with their
Mm-hmm.
child having a stepdad. So that's going to be really the new norm, and hopefully and prayerfully that statistic, goes down and isn't
Right.
as accurate, you know. Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't think I would go around just freaked out and spooked out by that Cinderella effect thing. But it's definitely something to be aware of, and that's where the communication comes into play. Because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, even if that person seems like they're the best person in the world, that still don't mean nothing. At the end of the day, it's all verbal agreement. So that's when you really have to get and talk about things like that. Even what you were just saying, how you don't want your child to feel like she's a outsider in her own home. And I feel like that can happen. You were saying that's why you don't think you would date a guy with no kids, but I feel like that can happen with a guy with kids because still, y'all can come together, and technically, if he already got kids, he still can have that same attitude. Well, that's whenever,
Right, but I could see it, is what I was saying. If he has kids, I can
oh, okay,
already see how he treats my child when he's with his kids. So I could kind of have a idea, like, okay, if we had
idea,
kids,
oh, okay, I
I
got
could, I could see it, But like, if you don't
you.
know, like, if it's only you, him, and your child, you don't know how he would treat, the kid if it was his child biologically. Then you had this kid with. I don't know if this dude was lying or not, but I have a friend from college, and he got married. He had a kid before he got married. He got married to this girl, and he said the reason why they end up divorcing is because once they had their child together, she didn't want him, bringing his kid over as much. He saw the difference in how she treated them, and it's not something that he wanted.
Oh well, it's definitely a real thing because I've heard stories like that too. So I know it's
Yeah.
definitely a real thing where that happens. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I have more clarity on what you were saying now since you said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that is something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point to put out there to really get people thinking because you can't you gotta, especially when you got a child, you definitely got to think about all that other extra stuff that comes with
Mm-hmm.
somebody being around a child and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and even like the fact that like I have a dark skinned daughter or whatever. That's one of the reasons why initially I didn't want to date outside my race at first. Now I'm through with that because I really just didn't want a biracial child because I know
yeah,
how the world tends to favor biracial kids, and I didn't want two kids like I ain't saying they would war against each other, but again, I don't want to bring I just know. Like, again, let me give you an example. The girl, when I had my shop in Bostonville, the girl that was right next to me, it was a black lady. And she had a daughter, and so she married an Indian guy. And she said that she would go out places, and people would just come up to her biracial daughter and be like, oh, she's so pretty. Or her other daughter, like the other daughter maybe was like 6, and then the other, the Indian daughter, the half, black half Indian daughter was like 2. And she said they would go up to the 2-year-old, like, oh, she's so pretty, and they wouldn't acknowledge the other kid. See, I just don't, I just didn't want that for my baby. I wanted 2 black kids, so it wouldn't be that, because like I said, I know how the world, even like last night, I ended up having to delete that one because they said like got a copyright claim or whatever. But like even last night, the lady that I had on last night or whatever, I know she didn't mean anything by it. But even like when I told her like, oh, now I'm open to dating other cultures. Like one of the things she said was, at least you'll know you'll have a pretty baby. So that already puts you in the mindset of how people think,
how people think, yeah,
about
yeah,
biracial. And I just, I just
hmm,
I don't want the comparing
yeah,
of, you know.
yeah, and that's definitely a real thing because with kids, even when kids get older, and if it was a younger and an older child or whatever, like that definitely can put a bad taste in their mouths, but because
Mm-hmm.
they'll be looking at each other with jealousy
Mm-hmm.
or whatever because of that, or they'll want to be hating the other because of that, you know. And yeah, I definitely agree because you definitely don't want any of that. Because I mean, I remember even when I was growing up, I'm the baby in my family, and one of my sisters, I remember I was like her shadow, and I mean, it's nothing like that now. It's nowhere close to that. But I remember, when I was younger, I was her shadow. I was in her shadow, stuck in her shadow. Everybody knew me by that such and such brother. Nobody know, some of them knew my name, but the ones who ain't know my name, oh, that's such and such brother. Oh, that's such and such brother. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just in her shadow, and I remember that like I didn't like my sister at times because of that. So, and we the same color, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, that's that's uh that's a wise way of thinking.
Yeah, but I'm over that now too. I just hope I have a little
Yeah,
boy because I think it'd be different if
yeah.
it's a boy. I just don't want two little girls put against each other. But a boy,
Ooh wee.
who cares?
Yeah, yeah.
So now just pray for a boy. You know, when I have, because I might have to marry a man outside my race. So I just pray for a boy.
You ain't gonna have to, but whatever.
I'm just saying.
Whatever.
I'm just saying. I was telling that to my sister yesterday. Or whatever. Because we was having this long conversation. I was talking about, men not being accountable for their actions. And she was
Uh-huh.
like, she was like, don't bring home a white man. She's like, he not gonna fit in. We do this, we do that. He just gonna be sitting around. I was like, it's just really funny that y'all underestimate my ability just to cut y'all off. Like I could just stop coming around.
Oh
Like
my
I
God.
don't have to come to the family reunion. I mean, let's just be clear. I come y'all should be happy. It's what they call it. It's a pleasure to see me.
Oh yeah.
Don't think I won't just drop y'all off. Okay, I'm just saying if they
Oh
start
my
acting like
God.
something that's silly and because he doesn't have because he's a different color, then I'll just be done
Yeah.
with it. That's it. We'll just move
Yeah.
on. My mama will be okay with it. She just want me to be happy. She wasn't with it for a long time because, she grew up in Mississippi when things were real racist. So, she was like,
Yeah.
I don't see why people marry white folks, da, da, da. But now that she's older, and, I kind of prepared her. I told her the other day, I was like, Mama, I said, black men don't like black women anymore. She said, I see. And I said, okay. So I got to do what I got to do. She didn't say no. So I take that as a yes.
Oh my God. Oh
But
my God.
so yeah, I was talking to my brother-in-law and my nephew yesterday, right? So we were talking about, he was like, if two people have, two people have sex, right, and the girl, accidentally, she gets pregnant or whatever, and the dad says, I'm not ready for a child. So they were saying, she should abort the baby, and I was like, it's not fair because abortion is not a form of birth control. It's not fair to
Yeah.
ask a woman to kill a life, which could cause mental
Yeah.
trauma, and she could be sterile from doing that. Like women, women have complications after they have abortions and stuff like that. I said it's not
Yeah.
fair, that she's the one that gotta, go through all these things that could be detrimental to her because because you decided, that you didn't want a kid or whatever, but you didn't take the precautions not to make sure the kid didn't come. And so
Yeah.
they were like, well, that's not right. You bring that kid here and that man don't want it. And I was like, if you don't want a kid, I said, sometimes people have sex, of course, they're not thinking like, oh, we're going to have a kid together, right? But, if it happens, that's a consequence of the action that you took. And I was like, why won't people just stop sleeping with people that they can't see themselves having kids with, Because even though you don't
Yeah.
want a kid, you got to say to yourself, like, you don't, anything can happen. The condom could break, like, life happens. So you got to say to yourself, like, if worst case scenario, something happens, would I be okay having a kid with this person? And I said, if the answer is no, then, there go your problem. And so I came to the conclusion that a lot of the issues that I feel like black men are having in life, it has a lot to do with their lack of discipline in the sexually. I definitely don't condone anybody, saying false rapes, right? But at the same
Yeah.
time, if we had a culture where people didn't have this hookup culture, what's the likelihood of a person that you're dating to say that you raped them, right? Most likely somebody that's saying that you raped them. Okay, 1 second, I'll fix you one, okay? Yeah, that's fine. Most likely that's gonna be somebody you just met. You know what I'm saying? And you put yourself in the
Yeah.
same situation that if she does
Yeah.
say rape, it's your word against hers. It made the
Yeah.
chips fall where they may. And I feel like men in that situation have way more to lose because, let's be real, they're more likely to believe a woman, right? So it's like, why would
Yeah.
you continue to put yourselves in those type of situations? Are men who complain about child support, but yet they still out here having sex with all these different women, and not only sex, unprotected sex with all these different women, but then they get mad that the baby is born and then they put on child support. And I just feel like a lot of, the issues that, black men complain about be rectified through sexual discipline? What you think?
You said it's rectified and what? I didn't hear that last
I
part.
said a lot of the issues that black men complain about could be rectified through sexual discipline. If they would just discipline themselves sexually and not just try to sleep with everybody they meet.
Oh no, I completely agree with that. For many reasons. Uh, but you have to be disciplined in that area. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
because if you see yourself trying to be committed anytime soon or in the future period, you're gonna have to be disciplined in that area because you ain't gonna be able to. Well, I ain't gonna say you ain't gonna be able to, but you shouldn't be going around just sleeping with anybody just because you mad at your wife or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then not only that is it's because of the very reasons that you mentioned already. You know, you can't be mad that a homegirl put you on child support, but you laid down and had your lit few minutes of fun and did what you did.
Right.
You know, so yeah, you definitely have to be disciplined there. And the I think a key word too is that you said is the unprotected part. You out here having unprotected sex, homie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing with people that you don't see yourself being with, or you don't see yourself having a child with. That's crazy. Don't do
Yeah.
that. You know, that's what be getting me. Oh man, I just oh man, I just can't I can't listen. I can't oh man, I just can't what I'm trying to say here. Oh yeah, oh man, I just can't have sex with the rubbers on, man. I just can't. It ain't the same. Well, don't be complaining when you got kids popping up all over the place and people and women serving you with court orders to pay their child support. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what's gonna happen, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I think that's so dumb. I think that's so dumb. And some men be like, well, she told me that she don't like it with it on. Well, you either need to stop or tell her no, you ain't taking it off. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's crazy. That's
I
crazy,
honestly believe
man.
people should just stop having sex, period, with people they don't see themselves with. I think that we need to
Yeah,
have
no,
focus.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I
We need to
agree.
have a true focus on people, saving that energy for the people they actually want to be with.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think the other reason for me is just is if you're a Christian and you're a person that reads the Bible and believe in what God says and stuff like that, you shouldn't be doing it anyway because it's all up in there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do what it says, I guarantee you will not have a child until you are married.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, for everybody who's a Christian out there.
Right.
You know, I ain't trying to throw the Bible on anybody that feel like I'm trying to throw. No, I'm not. I'm talking to the people who are already in it, or say they in it, or believe that they in it. It's in
Mm-hmm.
there. Go read it. Go look. It's all up in there. If you do exactly what it say, I guarantee you will not have a child until you are married. So,
Right.
and
No,
that's part of sexual. That's part of sexual discipline, though. What you just brought up.
yeah. And these fake,
So
these
yes.
so-called fake rape cases wouldn't happen, at least not at that, you know, as often if people went, meeting people at the bar and going home with them. Especially when you go home with people that are drunk. Like if you stand a chance that when that person gets sober, they're gonna say they didn't approve this interaction. So it's like I
Yeah.
said, men just have way more to lose than women, and I don't understand why they don't understand that they should be doing that.
Yeah. That's a whole nother case though. But if you go back to something you said
Mm-hmm.
with the getting put on child support and stuff like that, that goes back to the subject at hand. Do you care about money or character? The fact that the fact that you got put on child support, that's affecting your money. Even if you got a lot of money, that's still affecting your money. Then, on top of that, you know, you got to think about your character at that point in time. Yeah, you may be different now, but at that point in time, your character wasn't about nothing because look what you got yourself into.
Right.
Look at what you was doing to get to that point. And on top of that, then you might have to deal with that. You know how that baby mama drama, baby daddy drama stuff go. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a whole nother thing right there, because you end up giving somebody, they might not want to get with you because your baby mama crazy or your baby daddy crazy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a whole nother thing right there. Believe me, I just see. Oh my God, it's crazy people out here when it comes to kids and child support and stuff like that. People get crazy for real. So
Mm-hmm.
and, and that ain't just black people. That's all races. I done seen it. I done seen it. Ooh wee.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything. So we're gonna end this saying that you need both. That character is important.
Yeah, it
Character is
is.
important. But we not dating nobody that got all this character and no money either. So I mean it's different for you. I think
Yeah.
a man could date a woman with her money and good character. Cause you're
Oh, here
wrong.
we go. Here we go. No, it's both, like you said. No, don't make no exceptions, because if you make exceptions, we got to make exceptions for men too.
No, you don't, because I
Remember
don't
we
understand
no,
why
hold
y'all
on,
don't
hold on.
understand y'all role.
We live
God
we
said,
live
we
in
talking
this
about
we live
we
in this
talking about the
world
Bible.
of equality. We live in the world of
We don't live
equality
in a
now.
world of equality. Men still make more money. Women make
I
69
know,
cents
but
a men's dollar. We don't live in a world of equality. If you do have a kid and you're not married, the father has the kid. What is
boy.
it? 4 days out of 30, and the mother has the kid 26. We don't live in a world of equality. Okay, so
Okay.
the man
Okay.
is the provider. Okay, so
Okay.
it's more
Well,
acceptable if I have good character and I'm broke that I should still be able to be chosen, but it doesn't work the
no,
other
no,
way.
no. Uh-uh. Now, but I will say this though, just from a man's aspect, and then we'll end the show. But just from a man aspect, if you're a woman and you don't got all the money in the world, but you got amazing character qualities, you feminine, you got a good mind, you know how to control your mouth, uh,
Ooh. You start sounding
and,
like a
and yeah,
slave. Okay.
you know how to control your mouth and your no, I'm serious. Come on now, let's be honest. You know how to control your mouth and your attitude, because I want to finish, because yeah, usually your mouth get to popping when you got that attitude. So you know how to control your mouth and your attitude. Then yeah, yeah, we'll be more acceptable to you not having everything. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Leave it right there.
I hear that, but it sounds like it's how you want a slave. But I hear it.
No, that don't sound like that. That's part of character. Your attitude is part of your character.
Yeah, but I'm just saying a lot of men who say they don't want a woman with an attitude, and
No, I didn't say don't want a woman with attitude. I say know how to control it.
mhm.
Know how to control it. That's key.
Yeah,
Controlling it.
and it has to be vice versa too.
Yeah, yeah. It got to be vice versa.
Because
And that's why
most people
that's
gonna give
and
you the
that's.
same energy you get them.
But hold on, wait. That's why we said we agree to both, because it got to be vice versa. So
Right, right.
character and money.
Mhm.
You got to be bringing both to the table.
Mhm.
You know,
Unless you're a woman.
maybe you.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
All right. But
All
yeah.
right. But
Well,
yeah.
I enjoyed it. We have to do
Yes.
another
It was.
one soon. And
Yeah.
till next
Yeah.
time.
I'm gonna be here on. I'm gonna be on here all the time. But go ahead and we both on here. Shout yourself out, your stuff out, so everybody can follow you. And then I'm gonna do it, and we'll end.
Oh, well, you can follow my YouTube station, Melissa's Cricket Creation. And same for my Instagram. And I'll teach you how to make all type of things. Um, with your cricket.
Yeah. And y'all be sure to go follow Melissa. She actually used to make shirts for my business, and I think I'm gonna get with her on some more stuff too. But anyway, yeah, go follow her, and y'all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at underscore etc underscore etc. You can go to my website www.etceterabiz.com. That is etceterabiz.com. Go there and you can see everything. You can follow me at all my social links and everything. And other than that, we out. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Good night.
All right.
All right.